Hello, everybody. Today was Minecraft Live Day, and it was a happy day full of lots of very happy people who are all very happy to be watching in attendance on the live stream. As is tradition during Minecraft Live, they revealed some of the stuff coming to 1.21. It wasn't a ton because they're wanting to stick to the strategy of under-promising and over-delivering, but there's some cool stuff and one absolutely massive new block. So they said they were going for more of an adventure-y kind of update this time around, and I was like, all right, this is it. The end update, it's finally happening, and then it didn't materialize. But I'm holding out hope that maybe the end update is just part of what they haven't announced so far. But the first thing they showed is something called a trial room, not to be confused with the motorbike riding game that I've played. Or actually, I should say the trial rooms are a component of the greater structure, which is called a trial chamber. And I guess these just randomly generate underground now. You can mine into them. I don't know the frequency. It's got to be more than a stronghold, right? Because nobody randomly mines into strongholds. I mean, someone's done it, but it doesn't happen very often. And you have a main corridor, is what they said, and then that leads off into various branching rooms. It's just like a big dungeon with different challenges, and there's loot to be had, as well as a new type of spawner. It's like a Vault Hunters kind of ambush spawner, if anyone's played Vault Hunters before. One of the big takeaways of all this is just a whole bunch of new blocks being added to the game. There are these tough bricks that almost look like they have 3D mapping to them, but I don't expect that they do. And then there's a bunch of new different variations of copper. There are copper doors, copper trapdoors. There's copper grates, like industrial walkway flooring that are in these things. There's also these copper bulbs, which are a copper light source that as it oxidizes and is left out, gradually emits less and less light with each oxidation state. So when you discover one of these trial chambers, you can navigate through it and it'll be pretty dim, but then you can take your axe and you can scrape some of that oxidation off of the copper bulbs and it'll grow a little bit brighter for you. Or you can just customize exactly how much light you want, wax it if you're making it yourself, and it's just kind of a cool customizable light source. So as you branch off from the main corridor, it looks like you can find supply chests, which they didn't go into any specifics as to what you can find. That's probably still in development. But also you can find, I don't know if you call them challenge rooms, that have a trial spawner, which is a new kind of spawner where as you approach it, it will spawn a fixed amount of a certain mob. And it seemed like the type of mob it was going to spawn is marked off by some blocks surrounding the spawner. So in the case of the video that they showed, it was strays. So they had some ice blocks around the spawner. And when they approached it, it spawns an amount of mobs that's actually based upon the number of players. So single player, it'll be a certain amount. And then as you add more and more on a server, it'll actually spawn, I don't know if it's the exact same amount like per player each time. And then once you defeat all the mobs, you get a reward. It was emeralds and diamonds in the video they showed, which is a pretty cool reward. And then it shows a little smoking effect to show it's on cooldown, and you can come back later and you can do it again, which seems like something that might be able to be farmed for emeralds and diamonds or whatever other resources they're going to have in these things. I don't know if they're going to go up to like, would there be a Ravager trial spawner, like some super gnarly hard challenges? And because of this, I was like, is this going to be, you're stuck in adventure mode or something like that when you enter one of these places so that you can't break and place blocks and you kind of have to just approach it head on like a map or something? But it doesn't seem to be the case. So you could figure out a way to just farm, auto-destroy whatever mob spawns each time you approach this thing, presumably, unless, like, it detects there has to be a certain amount of flooring for the mobs to be able to spawn. I don't know how it works, but it just seems like it could be a good way to get some diamonds and emeralds on repeat, potentially. Along with this, they unveiled a new mob, not part of the mob vote. This one is a hostile mob. It's called a breeze, kind of like the Blaze's overworld cousin. It reminds me a lot of the Blizz, which is in tons of mod packs, and I just forget what actual mod it comes from directly. But this guy, he's like a windy boy, and he shoots out a projectile, which it can hurt you if it hits you, but the projectile seems to have an AoE, where if it interacts with any like redstone-related things, it'll turn on the lights if it hits it. It will open or close trapdoors in the area. So there could be inside of these challenge rooms in the trial chambers, like a pitfall trap. in the floor. And the projectile attack, like even if it doesn't directly hit you and damage you, the AoE also does a knockback, like it's a breeze, like blowing you away. So it could hit next to you, open up the trapdoors next to you, and blow you into the open trapdoors. Great. So that's all they showed for now of the trial chamber. I don't know if there will be some new things to discover as they implement it. I do think it would be cool if there was some way to discourage breaking and placing blocks, but I don't know how feasible that is. You know, it wouldn't be very Minecraft of them to set you into adventure mode. I just don't think they'd ever do that, but it's cool. I'd just like to also see it implemented with an end variation, you know? Okay, so anyway, beyond the trial chamber, they showed this village, and I don't know if this village was just made to resemble, I don't know, a place that people made on a server, or if they're actually updating the way villages look, because it was very like standard village looking, but with some tweaks and adding in some of the copper trapdoors that are being implemented and some of the copper grates and just tweaking the buildings and stuff. But they didn't really acknowledge it. I'm leaning towards it's probably just a set they built for the video, but if they're doing some sprucing up of some of the village structures, it could be cool, but it wasn't really the main focus of that segment. The main focus of that segment was the crafter, which is something that never in a million years would I have thought would actually get added into vanilla Minecraft. Automated crafting. Oh my God. So they start out by showing that with the crafter, it's like you could put in a stack of each individual item slot in a crafting recipe, and then you could put a button on it, and then every time you hit the button, it would pop out the resultant item until a particular slot of the crafting recipe runs out of a resource. And I'm like, okay, that's pretty cool. It's kind of convenient. I could just have a particular item on demand as long as I have items in the crafting grid inside of the crafter, and it actually maintains that inventory. But they're not going to do a thing where you can automatically load items into particular slots. Like, they would never. Oh my God, they would. They would actually allow you to do this. So yes, it's like you can actually block out different squares, auto load items into the recipe, and have them automatically either pop out or feed into a hopper or something like that. And it's like actually automated crafting, but vanilla. Now, obviously, this is like maybe slightly less significant in vanilla than like a mod pack where you might have a 50-layer recursive recipe that you're trying to mass produce or something like that. But regardless, like I can't even imagine what people are going to be able to create with this. Like I literally, I don't know. People are gonna surprise me with what they're able to make, and I'm gonna be like, that's actually wild. How did you do this? How did you come up with this as an idea? But also, just for the layperson, having things that could feed in from a farm and then craft with something else and then smelt, it's like you could have this increased level of processing going on that I wouldn't have envisioned coming to vanilla. So, I mean, it's probably one of the biggest things to be added to the game in a very, very long time. So that for me, them showing that, I was just like, oh, okay. Yeah, that's the update. You know what? Whatever else happens, you did good. You did good with that one. That's pretty awesome. Which, speaking of, we lead to the mob vote next, because I was like, you know what? If there was any, people being upset about the mob vote, which there was definitely some of, I'm like, you know what? They put the crafter in, man. That's really cool. So the armadillo, it won the mob vote, which, actually the poll on my channel, we had 211,000 votes, which I thought would be a really good sample size. It was actually very off. And we're thinking maybe it's because the first option was the crab, and maybe people just clicked crab because they wanted to see the results of the poll, which then skewed the result of the poll. So the armadillo won actually by quite a big margin, and that means Wolf Armor will be coming to Minecraft 1.21. On top of the armadillo, but mostly Wolf Armor coming to 1.21. We'll see how well it works, how durable it is, how much protection it gives the wolves. Hopefully they stay alive and nothing bad happens to them. So it doesn't just turn into they still exist in my base sitting. They just now do it with armor. But that basically summed it up for what we now know is coming to Minecraft 1.21. They're gonna unveil new features as the snapshots go. I think it's snapshot season. They should be coming out starting very, very soon. And I look forward to it. So make sure to subscribe and stay tuned for the snapshot content and like the video. And that's it for now. I'll see you later.